What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to the video. Today, we're going to talk about what order you should play the Xenoblade Chronicles games in, especially with the impending release of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition on the Nintendo Switch on May 29th. Now, one thing to note before we get into this, guys, is that you don't have to play Xenogears, which was on the PS1 from Square Enix, or any of the Xenosaga games in order to understand and get into Xenoblade. Now, I know that trips people up a little bit because we saw Telos and Cosmos from Xenosaga in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 as Blades. But trust me, guys, you don't have to play those games in order to understand and know what's going on. And there's not really any little hints or things here and there. Not too much to the point where you have to go and find those games or emulate those games or do anything like that. So don't worry about that, guys, if you're just jumping in. And trust me, it's going to take you way too long to track down those games and play those games anyway, because they are huge games. So we're focusing on Xenoblade and you wanting to get into that. So I personally think it should be played in this order, guys. First, you should just wait. You should not go back and play Xenoblade Chronicles, the original on the Wii, or the Wii U download, or the new Nintendo 3DS, or Dolphin, or anything like that. Just wait for Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Play something else in your backlog. Do something else, because that is going to be the definitive version of the game to where you are going to get the best experience heading into the Xenoblade franchise with that game. Out of all the versions of Xenoblade Chronicles, the definitive edition coming out on the Nintendo Switch will be the best one. Not only because of the improved quest structure, the graphics, UI, everything like that, but it also has the future connected DLC in there, or future connected epilogue in there. It's not even really DLC, it just comes on the cartridge, comes in the download, so you get that with it. So you get an even expanded game than what you had before. So I would start off with that game first and foremost on May 29th, head right into that. Now, if you like that and you want to continue with the Xenoblade games, then check out Xenoblade Chronicles 2. The game kind of evolves upon what the original did, adds in a bunch of new different elements to the gameplay when it comes to what you can do to enemies and how you fight, because now you have a bunch of blades on your team that you can use to switch and do different types of combos and stuff like that. So it kind of enhances upon that, and of course the story is even a bit more grand, and there's even more cutscenes and more craziness in there. So if you like Xenoblade Chronicles 1 Definitive Edition, when that comes out, after you beat that, everything's good, then play Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Now, if you like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I would highly suggest playing Torna the Golden Country after that. Now, here's the reason why. Even though Torna the Golden Country is a prequel to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I think it'll be way more impactful if you play Xenoblade Chronicles 2, see the flashbacks, see what they're talking about, and then you head into it afterwards. I don't think you need to play Torna the Golden Country first, which is a standalone game, by the way. Even though it's DLC that you can download through Xenoblade Chronicles 2, you can also purchase it separate, as a separate download, and even physical if you want. I think that it's way more impactful, and I had way more emotion when I played it after Xenoblade Chronicles 2. If you play it before, while you can, and trust me, you can still get a complete story and everything like that, I just think that it's going to hit a little bit of a different way if you play it afterwards, considering the flashbacks and everything, than actually exploring what was going on, instead of already knowing about those flashbacks and everything, then heading into Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So I personally think it should be that order. So far, what we got right now, guys, is Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Then we have Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Then we have Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna the Golden Country. Now, there's one more game here, right? And that's Xenoblade Chronicles X. And where does this game fit in? Well, here's the thing with that game, guys. Xenoblade Chronicles X is a Wii U exclusive that is actually quite different than the other Xenoblade games that I just talked about. This one has a huge, actual, real, like, open world that you can traverse through these huge mechs called skells. And the structure and kind of what you do in the game, some of the elements, while similar in terms of combat and things, definitely like vary, right? Especially with the traversal part. Otherwise, you're usually on foot or you're riding on Dromark or something like that, or you're just walking or whatever the case is. But in this one, you can fly through the skies. And this one also has online multiplayer too, and also passive multiplayer too with your friends and all that, which is still going, by the way. You can still play that online and enjoy it. So to me, Xenoblade Chronicles X is a completely different type of experience that if you want, you can play before Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, the original. So if you have a Wii U and you haven't played it at this point for some reason, or if you want to go download it or buy the game or whatever the case is, definitely check that one out beforehand, or you can play it after you're done with the rest of the game. So you can take your time and play it afterwards, and maybe if you wait, we're all crossing our fingers and hoping that Monolith Soft puts Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Nintendo Switch, because here's what I'll say about Xenoblade Chronicles X. Xenoblade Chronicles X is a massive game with a ton of content, and really it's a game that, while the gamepad usage, it can be helpful for some and everything, it's a required thing in the game. And the gamepad dies very quickly with that. So if they're able to adapt the game to the Nintendo Switch to where you can play that huge RPG anywhere that you want with that online multiplayer, I think you're gonna get a better experience out of that. So I would personally, if you haven't jumped into Xenoblade Chronicles X already, I would wait till after you play Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and then Torna the Golden Country. Just wait, because by the time that you're probably done playing all of those, we might have an announcement for Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Nintendo Switch. So therefore, you can play the whole series on the Switch and not have to worry about hooking up your Wii U or getting a Wii U, getting the gamepad stuff, doing all of that, worrying about all of that, or even finding people to play. Because if this game did come to Switch, it would definitely be something that people would be interested in, considering the type of system that the Switch is. Portable play, huge RPG, open world, open-ended. It would be great. So I would just say wait for that one. You can play it if you have the means to play it. By all accounts, you know, you can definitely play it right now. We still have time before the Definitive Edition releases, at least as the time that I'm recording this video, depending on when you're watching and everything like that. But I would wait till afterwards, because I do feel that there's a high probability that Xenoblade Chronicles X could come to the Nintendo Switch. But that is a very different style of game. The way that it was developed was very unique because of the Wii U in terms of how that system was built and operated. It had these data packs. That was pretty much the only game that I can think of to where you had like texture data packs and loading packs and all this different type of stuff that you can download. They really had to MacGyver this thing in order for it to work properly on the Nintendo Wii U. So I'm hoping that they have a Nintendo Switch version that goes over smoother than what they did with the Wii U. So I like the game. I think Xenoblade Chronicles X is great, but the narrative in terms of that game isn't as strong as what we've seen in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and Torna the Golden Country. So don't expect the narrative to be that strong, but it leaves off on a note that many people are like, wait a minute, hold up, anything else? So that's my order in which I would play the game. So just as a little recap, guys, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, wait for that one, get it when it drops, it's going to be really good. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, then Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna the Golden Country, and then X after that, Xenoblade Chronicles X. Hopefully waiting for that Nintendo Switch port that I know so many people have been asking for. But we have to get Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition first. I think that this game is going to do extremely well on the Nintendo Switch, considering everything that they're improving in the game. And I think that if X comes over, they'd improve so many more things too. That game has a lot of stuff that it can be improved upon when it comes to the UIs and the fonts and some of the gameplay flow and the quest structure. That game could use some brushing up as well. So I think you should wait for it. So what do you guys think about all this when it comes to my path for Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition? Remember, guys, the game Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, it is 100% of the original game, all added in, plus extra content with the future connected. It is a remake of the original Xenoblade Chronicles game on the Wii. It is not a remaster or a port or whatever the case is. It's completely remade with amazing looking graphics and of course all of the love and care and RPG goodness that Monolith Soft always puts into their games, and why they've carried such a strong and dedicated fan base for the past 20 years. Monolith Soft has just been absolutely amazing. So what are you guys' thoughts on my list here in terms of what you should play and in the order? I would love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. Also, make sure you drop a comment below. I'd love to hear you guys' feedback, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Also, make sure you check us out on Twitter at PlayerEssence. We just passed 10,000 followers, so I do appreciate all of you guys and the support you guys give on there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.